Okay, we have a little more to do here. Now let's quickly review. We have this, our slot machine here. We have these three labels. We have these three buttons. So far on exit, we just want to end the program. We're going to change that a little bit. And continue and catch. Continue basically means start, and catch basically means stop. So you could change these to start and stop if you like. And what happens here, just to explain it again, is we also have the timer here, and we had set the timer to enabled was true, and the interval was 100. And basically, we can say that when people click on buttons, those are called events, the user events, and then we put code, and we call that code an event handler, and that's what we've been doing. So we had different event handlers. You know, let's go back for a second. So here, when we had this program, we said if they clicked here, one thing would happen. If they clicked here, another thing had happened. So we say when this was a click event, and then we had a handler for that event, which would say what to do for that particular event, or how to handle that particular event. We'd have code that would run, and that's code would be called the event handler for this button. Let me just fix this. So the event handler would handle the event where the user clicked this button. Okay, now, instead of having the user causing an event, like clicking on a button, we have this timer causing events. And basically, it's causing what are called tick events, not click events, but tick events. So, and a tick, the number of ticks per second is determined by what you put here. So if I say an interval of 100, it means every 100 milliseconds there's a tick or a tick event generated. So again, it's not the user that's generating these events. It's not the user clicking a button that's generating these events. It's the timer is generating the events, and it's generating what are called tick events. And since I put in 100, they're happening every 100 milliseconds, which means there are 10 of them every second. So there are 10 of these tick events every second. And what we're going to do is we're going to write code to run every time a tick event is generated. So what kind of code would we like to run every time a tick is generated or occurs? Well, what do we want to happen? We want the numbers in here to change frequently, often. So basically, every time a tick occurs, we're going to have the numbers change. So you can see this is the timer 1, that's the name of the timer, tick event, and every time it ticks, that is 10 times per second in other words, what's going to happen? We're going to generate these random numbers, as I explained this code in the last video, and then those numbers are going to be set to here. So I'm going to generate a random number, set it to label 1, generate a different random number and set it to here, generate another random number and set it to here. So that's going to be generated for this every time this tick event occurs. But we just said this tick event is going to occur 10 times per second because we set it at the interval as 100 milliseconds. I hope I said milliseconds before. So these numbers are going to be changing 10 times per second. Each of these labels is going to generate 10 new numbers every second. Okay? So that's what this is going to do. And this doesn't require the user to do anything as long as the timer is running. And the timer gets run when here. When the user clicks the continue button, then timer 1 enabled is equal to true. I think it was initially set to true. Okay, so that means as soon as we start the program, I think it's going to start spinning. The number is going to start changing because this is initially set to true. To get it to stop, you click catch. And then if you want to get it to start moving again, you click continue. And why does clicking continue get it to move again? Because when we have the continue event, or the continue button, that sets the timer.enabled property to true. When we click the catch, that sets the timer 1.enabled value equal to false. What does that do? When we click catch, what does it do? It stops the timer. Stopping the timer means we're not generating numbers anymore, so these numbers remain fixed. So when we click catch, we get a fixed set of numbers. Okay, so that's how the continue and catch buttons work up to now. Now we want to do a little bit more though. First of all, we are going to add a label and a picture box, and the label is going to be here, the fourth label, and the picture box is going to contain this image. So set your new labels properties, auto size, set that equal to false, and label equal to blank. And also a picture box. Now he doesn't say how to do that, but the picture box here, you set these properties like this. Okay, and you want to find the picture box on your, I think you need to save this. You should save this into your project folder, because then when you send me your project folder, this might work. It actually might not work when you send it to me, but anyway, put this picture in your project folder, save it into your project folder, and then you have to find it here under image or image location, and set these like this. Hopefully it will work. And then, so that's set the picture box properties. Okay, now what's going to happen? Finally, we have this. So what's going to happen here? Well, what do we want to happen here? We want, when we get a match, like if a 1 and a 1 occur, that we want to give the message you win, we want the program to beep, and we want to show these coins like as though we're giving them money. Okay, now we don't have the function to actually give them money, so we're just going to symbolize it by showing these images, these coins. Okay, or this coin. Okay, so that's the way it's going to work. Now, but we want that to happen when? We want that to happen when we get a match. So what do we mean by a match? I mean, if this number, now you could design this any way you wanted. You don't have to do it when, two numbers match. You might say if a 7 occurs at all, then you could say, if there's a 7 here or here or here, you could say they win. Or you could say, if you have to get 3 7s to make them win. Or you could change the game in any way that you want. You could make the rules of the game as you want. As the programmer, you can do that. But in this example, we're going to make the rule that if any 2 numbers match, then they get a win. So that means if the coral and the yellow numbers match, they get a win. If this and this match, they get a win, and so on. So how do we do that? So we're going to put in this code here. So I think I'll stop here and then explain that code for the end.